Many people think that clothes are just clothes, but psychology suggests they can change the way you behave and even the way you think. Have you ever opened your wardrobe in the morning, looked at a rack full of perfectly good clothes, and felt that absolutely nothing there represents who you are anymore? If you have felt this, know that you are far from being the only person, and it is not about superficiality. There is a fascinating psychological explanation behind this feeling. As we move through life, our priorities and our mindset evolve, and the relationship we have with the mirror also changes. What we wear stops being an automatic choice and begins to carry an emotional weight that we often do not even consciously perceive. Our brain is constantly seeking coherence between who we feel we are on the inside and the image we project on the outside. And when that synchrony breaks, that inexplicable discomfort in front of the wardrobe arises. Clothes hold a unique power over our minds, and psychologists call one of the most interesting phenomena in this area enclothed cognition. This is the idea that the clothes we wear carry a deep symbolic meaning, capable of triggering real changes in the way we act and feel. For example, if you work from home and spend the day in pajamas, you may notice that your energy levels drop and that your motivation to complete tasks decreases considerably. But if you put on an outfit that makes you feel put together and confident, your brain immediately registers that change and your productivity increases. Researchers at the University of Hertfordshire in the United Kingdom conducted a study with over 100 participants and found that people reported feeling significantly more competent and authoritative when wearing formal clothing, even in environments where no one else could see them. Another study published in the journal Social, Psychological and Personality Science demonstrated that participants wearing formal attire showed a greater capacity for abstract thinking, meaning they were able to see problems from a broader and more strategic perspective compared to those dressed casually. This suggests that clothing does not only affect our mood, but literally alters the way we process information. There was a famous study conducted by researchers Hadjo Adam and Adam Galinsky at Northwestern University in the United States, where two groups of people wore the exact same white lab coat. The first group was told it was a doctor's coat, and the second group was told it was a painter's smock. The group that believed they were wearing the doctor's coat performed significantly better on tests of attention and focus, making nearly half the errors compared to the other group. The coat itself did not change anyone's intelligence, but it completely altered the participants' mental posture. This experiment was replicated in various forms around the world with consistent results. In a variation conducted at Yale University, participants who wore business attire during negotiation simulations achieved significantly higher profits than those dressed casually, demonstrating that clothing influences even our assertiveness and ability to make decisions under pressure. When you choose an outfit that projects elegance or strength, your brain hears that message. At this stage of life, dressing well is not about impressing others. It is a direct command of self-respect that you send to your own mind. We also need to recognize that human beings make decisions about others in a matter of seconds. Research from Princeton University indicates that we form judgments about a person's competence and trustworthiness in just 1/10 of a second after seeing them. Psychologists call this the halo effect, which is our subconscious tendency to assume that someone who looks polished and well-presented is also more capable, intelligent, and trustworthy. A study published in the journal Evolution and Human Behavior revealed that people wearing clothes perceived as higher quality were consistently rated as more competent, even when their presented qualifications were identical to those of people dressed more simply. Another experiment conducted at the University of British Columbia showed that salespeople wearing branded clothing received significantly more cooperation from strangers compared to those wearing unbranded clothing, suggesting that clothing functions as a social shortcut that the brain uses to quickly categorize who deserves attention and respect. In a world that sometimes tries to make women feel less visible as they accumulate experience and wisdom, visual presentation becomes a powerful tool of empowerment. Choosing structured tailoring, sophisticated minimalist lines, or even vibrant touches of color is a way of commanding authority. It is a quick and silent way of telling the world that you are here, that you have a story, and that you expect to be heard. Have you ever noticed how a fashion trend that seemed completely ridiculous at first starts to look quite elegant and normal after a few months? Perhaps you saw wider trousers or casual sneakers paired with dresses and thought you would never wear that. But then, sometime later, you caught yourself buying exactly such a pair. This happens because of the mere exposure effect, a phenomenon identified by psychologist Robert Zajonc in 1968. In his original experiments, Zajonc repeatedly showed unfamiliar Chinese characters to American participants, and the more the participants saw the same characters, the more positively they rated them, even without understanding absolutely anything about what they meant. Our brains naturally resist what is unfamiliar because they seek safety in what we already know. However, the more we see an image on social media, in shop windows, or on our friends, the more acceptable and attractive it becomes to our minds. Researchers at Stanford University demonstrated that it takes between 10 and 20 exposures to a new style for the brain to move from active rejection to neutral acceptance, and after a few more exposures, to genuine preference. This is why fashion brands invest so heavily in visual repetition in advertising campaigns. Embracing subtle updates to your style is not about being manipulated by trends. It is actually a sign of mental flexibility and of keeping your perspective fresh and open to the new. Another common experience is buying a truly exceptional piece, such as a high-quality leather bag or a beautiful pair of shoes, and suddenly feeling that everything else you own looks completely wrong. This is known as the Diderot effect, named after the French philosopher Denis Diderot, who in the 18th century wrote an essay describing exactly this phenomenon after receiving a luxurious silk robe as a gift. He described how the new robe made his desk look old, his curtains looked faded, and his chair seemed unworthy of being in the same room. The effect describes how the introduction of a new possession of a higher level can create a chain reaction, because our brains crave harmony and consistency. Researchers in the field of consumer behavior at the University of Chicago documented that this effect is particularly strong when the new acquisition is highly visible and has personal symbolic value. When you acquire a piece that represents a more refined version of yourself, your older clothes suddenly seem outdated. It is not that your wardrobe became bad overnight. It is that you are outgrowing your old style, and your brain wants the rest of your look to match your new standard. Interestingly, psychologist Juliet Shaw, a professor at Boston College, demonstrated in her research that this effect is amplified by social media, where constant exposure to elevated standards accelerates the cycle of dissatisfaction with what we already have. Additionally, there is a phenomenon that psychologists call anticipation dopamine. Research conducted by neuroscientists at Emory University showed that the brain releases more dopamine during the expectation of a reward than during the reward itself. This explains why the excitement of searching for and finding a perfect piece, imagining it in different combinations, and eagerly awaiting delivery can be more pleasurable than actually wearing it days later. This brain chemistry also explains impulse buying behavior and the fleeting satisfaction that many people experience when purchasing clothes they end up never wearing. Understanding this mechanism can help develop more conscious and lasting consumption habits. There is also a concept called color psychology that deserves attention. Researchers at the University of Rochester demonstrated that the color red increases perceptions of attractiveness and dominance, while a study published in the Journal of Experimental Psychology showed that blue is associated with perceptions of trustworthiness and calm. Black, according to researchers at the University of Liverpool, conveys authority and sophistication in professional contexts. When we intuitively choose certain colors on certain days, we are often responding to unconscious emotional needs. A woman who chooses yellow on a cloudy day maybe unknowingly trying to regulate her own emotional state through visual stimulation. Finally, there's a beautiful concept called the extended self, proposed by researcher Russell Belk in 1988. Over time, certain possessions stop being just objects and become a real part of our identity. Belk argued that our possessions are a literal extension of who we are, functioning as an external repository of our memory and our personal history. Every woman has those pieces in her wardrobe, like a silk scarf bought on a memorable trip, a coat that made her feel invincible during a great life challenge, or a piece of jewelry passed down through generations. To someone on the outside, it may just look like an old piece of fabric, but to you, it is a portal to your memories and a part of who you are. More recent research conducted at the University of Bath expanded this concept to the digital environment, showing that the same emotional attachment we feel toward physical clothing already extends to avatars and virtual wardrobes, proving that the bond between identity and clothing transcends the material world. This is precisely why criticism about fashion can feel so deeply personal, because when someone criticizes what we wear, our brain processes it almost as a criticism of our own identity. Style in maturity is not about following rules made for teenagers. It is a form of emotional curation. It is about having the freedom and the privilege, which only time can bring, to look in the mirror and know that your clothes are telling your true story. Every piece chosen with intention is a silent declaration of self-awareness, and few things in life are as elegant as a woman who knows exactly who she is and wears that certainty every single day.